I'm gonna cut right to the chase. This mod has a custom ending that allows the player to shoot up a school. I super will not be showing you that, but rest assured it's really, really bad. It's the worst thing I've ever experienced. And I've seen a third of Battlefield Earth. And Paris Hilton making lasagna while wearing fingerless gloves. Huh. The disgust I feel about this thing truly has me at a loss for words, so I'm gonna move on. I think I'd rather suck on a gun barrel than anal eyes the self-evident reasons that segment is a cancer on this world. So let's talk about the stuff that doesn't make me want to witness the extinction of the human race as much. Oh man, look at these adorable credits. At first I thought this had to be trolling, right? Then I kept watching and, No, this guy's an alt-right, black-pilled, Kekistani 4chan dork. Possibly the most obscenely obscure rabbit hole I'll ever go down. Challenge accepted. This is a mod called Hatred 1.666, and it's ultimately a vast improvement on this indie spree killer game from 2015. The base game is competent. It's a fairly challenging spiritual successor to the original Postal, but the grayscale color scheme and isometric viewpoint probably caused a lot of people to skip it. That, and the sweaty edgelord antagonist who oozes cringe out of every pore. He does have some luxurious death metal hair, though. Dude's got a great look, even though his luscious locks are constantly clipping into him. But this modder, man... Hoo boy.
We have such sights to show you.
Hatred isn't trying to say anything political. And that's probably on purpose because of the subject matter. It's a straightforward game about a psycho who's had a pretty sad life and utterly despises the human race. Okay, speaking my language. Seems like a dude I'd hang out with. However, instead of smoking weed, chilling out, doing psychedelics, getting a girlfriend who turns out to be a figment of his imagination like mine is, then shrugging and fapping to her anyway, he decides it's time to die. But he's too edgy to anhero. No sir. He's gonna go out in the most American way possible, by indiscriminately killing people with high-powered rifles until a brave, fast-acting cop receives the go-ahead to maybe start thinking about doing the paperwork to formulate a plan to shoot him to death. I look at Hatred as a stress reliever, or at least that's what I thought when I bought it on sale one day when my coworkers were pissing me off. I love carnage. I enjoy learning about the really bad serial killers and the most heinous brutality imaginable. Adolfo Constanzo, Richard Kuklinski, Robert Pickton, Albert Fish. These guys did some unspeakable shit. I can handle and even relish in that kind of stuff.
I wanna know about the wicked shit, like painfully torturing people to death so their souls can be fed to an evil cauldron. Chopping up dead bodies and feeding them to pigs, or roasting a human butt with veggies and a nice gravy.
Num 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 num. I eat that shit up. Not the delicious human meat, but the stories. Wink. But even as a degenerate of culture, I was sipping on this Hatred game, pinky outstretched, adjusting my monocle, and even I found the executions to be a tad much. After about the 30th screaming civilian my metalhead husbando capped in the skull like a dispassionate slaughterhouse worker, it kinda stopped being an interesting novelty. And that was just the first level. Here I was, thinking I'm some kind of Giga Chad appreciator of dark shit. But my low-level displeasure with the average person's lack of critical thinking skills doesn't hold a fucking candle to the bloodthirsty, hatred of humanity that you can find in Hatred's cult following. A certain segment of people really fucking enjoyed hatred.
Stop it. Get some help.
One of them is a modder known on the Steam Workshop as Virgil, and I'm pretty concerned for this dude's well-being. He's not the only one who worked on this mod. Dude called Igoriso did parts of it, but Virgil is the primary author, the most opinionated in the comments, and his writing style seems more prevalent in the work. Sometimes he misspells shit or uses wonky syntax, but there are many more pressing things to rip on him for beyond his grasp of grammar. I've formed a pretty clear image in my head of what kind of person Virgil is based on the content of his surviving mod resume, 5 of 6 of which are for hatred, plus another 2 submissions that are curiously missing, as well as his own descriptions of the mods and the public responses he's made to players. All of this can be found on the Steam Workshop if you're interested in taking a look for yourself. It's all pretty fucking unhinged, but I'm just gonna hit the highlights. Aside from being MAGA chud lolcow type shit, this stuff is worrying. Because this guy appears to be a very upset, possibly incredibly divorced man, who was spending a lot of time creating mods for hatred, and pretty much only hatred. Only other game he modded was some awful anti-ISIS turret shooter. He added some Crash Bandicoot assets and insinuated that Muslims fuck goats. Another one of Virgil's now banned creations was a hatred reskin called Refugee Simulator 2016, which added Arabic music and changed the player character into a stereotypical terrorist. So this horrific Islamophobia is a theme in his shit, as is his hilarious fear of the Christ God. Fucking baffling. I don't think Jesus would approve of his interests. He also fucking hates video game journalists. Or journos, as he calls them, which is almost funny, but kind of a weird hill to die on. A brief word about Igoriso, his partner. Don't have much to say about him. He works as a senior software engineer and he does English good. Seems to be the more level-headed of the pair. Can confirm he at least did the third-person perspective part of the mod, and his help motivated Virgil to finish it. Look, credit where it's due. Virgil is capable of comedy. Not quite at the level of a meme lord, but maybe a meme baron or a meme duke. He did another conversion where the antagonist has an Ahegao drip trench coat, blue hair, cat ears, and a Majin mark, and everything is reskinned to dump on weebs. The antagonist is mad because they took his hentai hard drive. Hell yeah, that fucking rules. Even the skybox is replaced with the Ahegao collage. Fucking legend. I'm a massive weeb and I deserve to be bullied. But that aside, being a bigoted little shit toward anyone who isn't a straight white Christian male is pathetic. And I gotta blame the parents here. You have to hug your kids every once in a while. Teach them to be compassionate. And if you're a hateful piece of shit who happens to have kids, you just gotta go to the 7-Eleven for some cigarettes and never come back. The pain of abandonment will do far less damage to your child than your vile, regressive conservative beliefs ever could. Look at some of the shit in this description. Women have significantly less health pool than men. Yikes. Who hurt you, dude? Did the ex take the dog with her? I gotta mention that in the base version of the game, the tutorial has you execute a drugged hostage guy in Not Important's
My name is not important.
basement. In this mod, he swapped the dude for a naked sex slave who begs for death, and changed the animation to Not Important knifing her in the pussy. Definitely can't show you that. But it's the first thing you're forced to do when you start it up. I mean, talk about saying the quiet part loud, right? Virgil's mom must have been a real ragged bitch or something. I really have trouble getting into the heads of people like this. What is it that makes one despise women this much? They have boobs. And if you're not a total dickhead and display an approximation of an interesting personality, you might be able to trick some of them into thinking you're a good person for long enough that they'll kiss you. Even if this is edginess for edginess' sake like he claims, my guy just made an indiscriminate killer even worse with this pussy stabbing shit. It's just fucking despicable. It's not delivered in a way that's even trying to be funny. But you wouldn't know it from some of these comments. Fucked if I know, man.
If you read this fucking description, then you're the type of guy who will read the in-game hints and won't bother me with stupid questions I'd answer with irony.
Irony is Virgil's way of saying he'll be a massive cunt. Like this gem. He's arguing with this guy who takes issue with the changes made to a political rally you're meant to slaughter. Or turn into a barbecue. The politician's name was changed to Cerny Banders, and a sound clip from a Bernie speech was swapped in. Hey, fuck that guy. He wants healthcare to be free so people don't go bankrupt from unavoidable medical problems. Best country in the world, where your access to affordable medical care is tied to your job. Meanwhile, the State Department gave over 100 grand a pop to guilt-ridden CIA operatives who got headaches from imaginary communist microwave lasers. Look into the Havana Syndrome compensation if you care. It's fucking dogshit. But what the fuck do I know? Kill the evil socialists, right? So they trade some barbs about their avatars, and Virgil just destroys this cuck with...
Okay, bro, but have you drank your soy milk today while sharing your wife to the comrades?
First of all, that's called polyamory, and at least he has a wife. Yours probably left you for another guy because all those InfoWars brain supplements made your dick stop working. Secondarily, Homeboy has since changed to what looks a lot like an anime avatar of the edgy poet guy from Devil May Cry 5. What the fuck is going on? He went from one form of cringe to another. I know I'm cringe. What might be even worse than Virgil's woman-hating, homophobic, and Islamophobic worldview is the kind of shit you get from the folks who love the mod for the wrong reasons. Virgil and Igoriso both spent a lot of the early comments repeating basic instructions over and over, and reminding people that using third-party cheats for the game would break it because Virgil wanted it to be, like, super duper hard because he's so good at it. Understandable. He has over 800 fucking hours in this game after all. I know a chunk of that has to be from testing while developing the mod, but a lot of it had to be him just mindlessly replaying a fairly mid-isometric shooter you can finish in an afternoon. I almost felt bad for them wasting so much time telling tech-illiterate people how to use their mod. It feels like a lot of alt-right fuckheads only had this game and a couple other hate crime simulators, or they got sent by their fellow channers and just couldn't figure out how to get the commie assassination mod to work. Took them about a year to give up on repeating themselves, but then I remembered the things they added to a game that otherwise didn't really have a political ideology. Unfortunately, everything is politics.
Get over it.
Because everything has a perspective. No work can be completely divorced from the viewpoints of its makers. These viewpoints can be obscured, especially when they have legal concerns like destructive creations. The Polish dev that made Hatred. Hey, 2 videos in a row about games by Polish devs. Neat. You'll find some cute disclaimers on Virgil's mods. Peep this one for the shadow-banned Hitler reskin of Not Important. That's some of the most half-hearted shit I've ever seen considering some of the other things he's said. You can always at least get a feel for a creator's beliefs from their work. Destructive creations were/are dark freaks like me, and they wanted to get noticed, so their first game had a highly controversial dual-purpose trailer/intro cutscene that was dripping with edge. Mass shooters have kinda sorta become a huge fucking problem in America nowadays, and that trailer did get Hatred some attention. But they moved on and have no interest in making a sequel for, I'm gonna say, obvious reasons. And best believe, Virgil is super salty about that. The original game is down the middle nihilistic. The antagonist has no political agenda beyond senseless killing. Spoiler, he wins the game by blowing up a fucking nuclear power plant. And he probably kills more cops and soldiers than civilians. Before the ending, at least. Mushroom Cloud Chan is admirable for her lack of discrimination. There are occasions when Virgil tries to downplay his bigotry by claiming satire, and expecting us to believe he was doing a South Park by mocking both political extremes. I guess making a shitty alternate costume that shortens Not Important's trench coat and cuts his luscious hair down to an untextured buzz cut was Virgil's way of doing a biting, satirical roast of gunfuckers who cosplay as soldiers. He's just trying to cover his ass so the thing doesn't get banned. Speaking of, there are several times where Igoriso responds to a comment he's deleted because we don't talk about that part. This is fucking hilarious, dude. The MAGA hogs kept squealing about how they came in their pants after killing a bunch of kids. So Igoriso had to regularly censor the comments over 3 years. Up to this fucking day, man. They're still responding. He has to have been rubbing his temples as he moderates the discussion surrounding this project he and Virgil stopped updating.
I can't stop laughing. Best fucking mod ever, so fucking based. There should be a mosque, lol.
The last level is satisfying AF. You have to destroy them before they will turn into those BLM, SJW, and LGBT bullshit. I haven't harped on this much because it seems obvious, but if you super enjoy murdering innocent people in a video game, you probably have a brain disease. Uh-oh, my leftist cuck bias is showing. You're not gonna become a murderer by playing hatred or mowing down pedestrians in GTA, but
This can't be good for me, but I feel great.
There's nothing artful about this mod's political additions. It's not comedy or satire, it's just a dumbass violent fantasy.
What if I could just kill everyone I don't like?
To a rage-addled simpleton, I guess that passes for funny. I should probably mention that this game kinda makes me feel fucked up. It puts me in a shitty mood, and reading all these horrible-ass comments feels pretty bad too. After I finish laughing and jerking off at least. I'm not gonna dig up a bunch of studies, because psychology is a field that shies away from making definite statements about cause and effect, which is part of why I stopped studying it in college and switched to the equally useless field of rhetoric. It also turned out to be very math-heavy, and I'm a dumb bitch. But I'm pretty sure that regularly immersing yourself in hate will normalize it. And pretty soon, those unpleasant thoughts and feelings will become your default state. We are what we pretend to be, so we must be careful about what we pretend to be. Albert Einstein said it, so you know it must be true. People like Virgil aren't good people pretending to be twisted. They're just fucking straight up angry and twisted. Now, what I just did a couple sentences back was an example of satire. Not very good satire, mind, but I used a pattern of people mistakenly attributing quotes to Einstein, and paired that with a picture of Doc Brown because a lot of people are pretty fucking stupid. Also, the quote was from Kurt Vonnegut, not Einstein. There is no irony or exposing of public ignorance in Hatred 1.666. I had to kill my stupid-ass joke to illustrate the point, but you can't make a bukkake without busting a few nuts. Satire takes cleverness and effort. Burning Bernie Sanders in effigy does not. There's edgy, and then there's this bullshit. I still have to give these mad lads props for making a mediocre to decent game much better, depending on your mood. According to all these awards and praise, they made it into a fucking masterpiece. Provided that you have very particular feelings about women, socialism, and unjustifiable murder. Personally, I only do my killing on private islands, and only when the human prey is given the same tools I have. None of that unbalanced nonsense like The Most Dangerous Game, or The Preserve where Jeff Bezos hunts union organizers. I really hope Virgil finds happiness and fulfillment, and stops being such a bummer, because he sounds like he fucking hates his job, and life in general. I wonder what he would say about this video essay no one's gonna see. It'd probably be something along the lines of,
"Fuck you, commie."
and he'd just go back to not sleeping with a crusty waifu body pillow. Unlike me. Anywho, this mod isn't really funny, not even on a meta level. It's not politically agnostic, despite its creator's insistence. It's really just a more fucked up, more irresponsible version of a fucked up, irresponsible game. But making hatred work as a first and third person shooter was a vast improvement, because most isometric shooters suck dick.
And for those reasons, I give it a 9 out of 10.